everybody? Welcome back to my channel. And for today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be talking about the future of college football and what I fear the most. And by doing that, I'm going to be showing a first take video about Indiana winning the Natty, showing some clips of what each person said, and then giving my thoughts right after. So I'm going to flip the camera around, show you guys the exact video, and then get on with the rest of the video. Give you guys my thoughts and explain what I fear, my biggest fear about the future of college football. Let's get it started. So here is the exact video. Stephen A. thinks Fernando Mendoza QB draw on 4th down will stand out for the ages. You got Desmond Howard right there, Chris Canty, and Joe Fortenbog. That's this guy, the host. Came out 9 days ago. That's when I watched it. So I'm not reacting to it, but I'm going to give my thoughts on their opinions. Mainly Stephen A. Smith, Desmond Howard, and Chris Canty. They bring out great points. Their opinions are valid. They'll just talk about Indiana beating Miami and like how the way the game went, but they go in deep with it. You know, PT.16, the Indiana head coach, he's great. He's probably the best in college football. And yeah, they go and talk about him and stuff. The play, of course, by Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, this video, what is it? I'm not gonna watch the whole thing, but yeah, this is a great video. So let's get to it. Talk about a lot of good stuff, and I'm gonna be telling you guys why, my biggest fears, and give you guys my point of view, my opinion about what they said. Let's go. Before I get started, here is the exact time of the video. 7:44. What does an Indiana title mean for college football? That's where I started giving my thoughts. So, just want to let you guys know. Now let's begin.
You look at Ohio State, when you look at Alabama, when you look at all of these 5-star recruits that they've accumulated, and yet Cignetti is sitting up there with not even 10% of what they have, and he wins a national championship, and by the way, goes undefeated in doing so, and romps teams along the way in capturing the national championship. If I'm a coach at one of these blue blood programs, let me tell you what Cignetti has just done, and I dare CC and Dez to disagree with this. What he's done is he's put all of those dudes are on notice, not because he'll want their job, but every program is going to be measuring their head coaches based off of this. Wait a minute, this guy shows up and wins a national championship without having to accumulate all of these 5-star athletes, without having to spend but so much of an abundance of money on NIL and stuff like that. What the hell is going on here? If he was able to do that, why the hell can't you? Why do you need all of this money? Think about it.
That's facts. I agree with everything Stephen A. Smith said in that clip about all these popular programs having all this NIL money, being able to buy out these players from the transfer portal, having these 5-star recruits on their team. Well, Indiana, they had no 5-star recruits, no 5-star players, barely any 4-star players, I think, and they got it done. All that through coaching, development, and executing on plays. They executed very well at a high level in the playoffs. From the first game, when they beat Alabama, gave them the belt, Oregon, and then the Natty. They executed on offense, defense at a high level, and that's all coaching. That's all development, players knowing what to do, knowing their role. And he's right. That's going to put the head coaches on notice, because if he could do it, Kurt Cignetti, why can't these other head coaches do it? These other great head coaches do it. It's just like the coach at what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Alabama. I forgot his name, but yeah, the coach of Alabama, or Lane Kiffin. Even even though he didn't coach. Or Mario was in the Natty, so I'm not gonna say him. But you guys know who I'm gonna say next. The main person, I think he's a great coach though. Like Dan Lanning, he's a phenomenal coach. I'm glad he's coaching our team. But you know, this isn't a good look for all of head coaches, because he's the best coach in college football, Curt Cignetti. As much as I would like to say Dan Lanning, I think he's a great coach, but I think with all these 5-star recruits we have, we're able to attract a lot of players because of Nike and stuff. They love to wear Oregon gear. That could be another reason. The location. You know, we got the talent and stuff over here in Oregon, but where are the results? We're getting back-to-back years we got stomped. Blowout. It wasn't even close. Ohio State, that was an ugly game. I was there in person. The long bye, you can say that was an excuse or not, I don't know. Bye month. But this season, no excuses. We had a whole playoff game. Then we faced Indiana. There was no long bye for us this time, and we're gonna get it done. They did us worse, if not the same as Ohio State. So yeah, as Stephen A. Smith said about the personality putting the head coaches on notice, I agree with. And yeah, it's impressive what he did. Best coach in college football right now. So now on to the next clip.
Love coaches who are able to do more with less. Like, those are the guys to me who can really coach, who can really develop talent. And because now of the NIL and the portal, guys are trying to buy championships. They're going to buy players who are already developed. So I really agree with what Stephen A. is saying. So it's refreshing to me to see a guy like Cignetti, who has a staff and who has a roster that's not littered with top name coaches and top name players or 4 or 5-star players, but they go out there and execute at such a high level against the Blue Bloods.
Not just the Blue Bloods, but everybody they played. Oregon twice, first in the regular season. They beat us in Autzen, our home stadium. That was a much closer game. So in the playoffs, I thought, like they say, it's hard to beat the same team twice, a really good team twice, but they made it look easier. They gave us the belt. They annihilated us. It was terrible. I thought maybe it'd be a closer game, just like the first game, or we might win, because we had a good team. That's what I believed. We had a good team, good enough to win the Natty at least, but in my opinion. But they made us look like pretenders, like frauds. And what Desmond said about doing more with less, I respect that. I respect that a lot. I agree with that. And if a coach could do more with less, that's more respect to them, because all these coaches, they have the luxury of getting all these good players, these 5-star players, because of where it is, the location, the money they get. In Indiana, you know, they're not really a popular, known program. No athletes jumping to go to Indiana. I don't even know where Indiana is at on the map. That's how unknown it is. Not to disrespect Indiana, but no one saw this. Well, I mean, before the season started, no one saw Indiana winning or being good in football, because they were never good in football. Last season they did good, but who would have thought Indiana would get a natty? Like, especially with no 5-star recruits at all, no 5-star players, all that talent, but how they looked in the regular season, like, I knew, like, yeah, they have a good chance of winning it all. Like, but I believed in us. I believed in Oregon. I believed we could beat them if we'd seen them again, but I was wrong. Indiana, what Desmond did, I mean, what Desmond said about Curt Cignetti, what he did, impressive. And yeah, it wasn't just against the Blue Bloods. It was against everybody, including Oregon. So on to the next clip.
I'm going to call him Curt Cignetti because he's a national championship champion today. But we've got proof of concept that you can win a title at Indiana. He's got proof of concept that he can turn a transfer quarterback in Fernando Mendoza into the presumptive first overall pick. So when we look at this win over the U, This is the culmination of one of the most unlikely seasons, one of the most unlikely championships that we've seen in all of sports. To me, this is right up there with Miracle on Ice, Buster Douglas, 28-3 in Super Bowl 51, the 2007 New York Giants beating the undefeated Patriots, and maybe most aptly, the 2001 New England Patriots, the beginning of the dynasty with Bill Belichick in Foxborough. That's what it feels like with this win. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about Indiana being the team to beat. This is Kirk Cignetti's college football world, and the rest of those coaches are just living in it. I think this is the beginning of a dynastic run for Indiana University.
You guys heard that, right? Chris Canty just said. Canty has a lot of crazy takes, if I'm being honest. Like, whenever I watch First Take, his takes are either exaggerated, crazy like that, too soon, like they're just way too soon, and just not to be taken serious because of the way he says it. But he believes what he's saying in all his takes. He actually believes it, and this ain't a bad take, in my opinion, because I can see it happening. If you have the right head coach, I believe a dynasty is possible. And Indiana, with Kirk Cignetti as their head coach, he's one of the ones. He's one of those head coaches who's part of the Nick Saban tree, who's very much like Nick Saban. He's the most the Nick Saban tree that resembles Nick Saban the most. Like, if there's a Nick Saban 2.0, it's him. I think, I just think he's a great head coach. He's seen what he's done, the results, and him always staying serious, not smiling, even when they're up big. All that. Yeah. So that's not the bad take. I think that is my biggest fear. I'll get into that after the clips, go into more detail and stuff. But yeah, Indiana could be another Alabama. It could be, like you said, the Patriots. Yeah, they could. Indiana, that could be that. They got the right head coach. And that's what I fear the most. But we have one more clip, then we'll go into more detail, more deep with what I fear, the future of college football. So let's get into the next clip. Last one.
We got to remember, he pulled this off for 2 years. He was a 52-9 at James Madison. He comes over to Indiana his first year. He only loses 2 games. In his second year, he goes undefeated. So not only was what I talking about earlier relevant in terms of putting pressure on other coaches because of how successful he was, but to really crystallize it even more, the waiting game doesn't favor them either, because you're going to have administrations going like this. We ain't got to wait 5 years. He did it in 2. How come you can't do it in 3? You know, in year 1, he showed vast improvement. How long is it going to take for you? Cignetti came in and did it. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, it's like, yo, the excuses have just gone out the door. Nobody is trying to hear anything now. Cignetti has put the college football landscape on notice. And there's a whole bunch of coaches that's going to lose their job and lose their comfort zone. I tell you that much because of what this man just accomplished at Indiana.
That's another thing I fear too, what Stephen A. Smith just said about coaches in danger of losing their jobs, because what Kirk Cignetti just pulled off with Indiana, if he could do it in that amount of time, why can't these coaches? And that puts pressure. That's going to put pressure on these coaches. It's going to make them uncomfortable to get it done. I agree with what he said, especially these good programs with all this money, all this talent on their teams. Like, I fear that because as an Oregon Duck fan and student, I believe Dan Lanning is a great coach. I believe we could win with him. However, if we keep losing like that bad, getting blown out like that, that's gonna be something to talk about. That's gonna be, you really gotta raise your eyebrow. Like, that's gonna be something. Gotta start looking at Dan differently if he keeps looking at if he keeps losing like that. If they keep losing like that as a team. Because I don't want to just put it all on Dan Lanning, but you can't keep losing like that big. I know Ohio State, you could say that long bye month, whatever, we weren't prepared, and yeah, we just weren't ready enough, or not fully healthy, whatever excuse. But there's no excuse for this year because there was no bye month. We had JMU, played them first, practice, got them out the way. They were a G5 school, group of 5 conference. A team from a group of 5 conference. They weren't legit. Texas Tech wasn't elite either. They were better than JMU. I give them credit. They were way better than JMU, but they're from the Big 12. When we face elite competition in the playoffs, the results are right there. Ohio State, Indiana, they gave us a belt. And if we keep losing like that, then yeah, gotta look at Dan Lanning with a raised eyebrow, because there's no way with that talent and with everything we have in Oregon, resources, we should be able to. Can't lose like that. It has to be close. If we can't get blown out like that. There's no way. The games have to be close. I understand if we make it to the Natty and we lose in a close game, like how Miami did. That was a close game, but it can't be a blowout. It can't. Any playoff game, the Natty, the first round, the second round, you can't lose like that, because he could. The worst possibility, he could lose his job. Any coach could lose their job. Not just Oregon, but yeah. What Chris Nettie did, he put the College Board on notice. I agree with everything they said in that video. I'll just give my final thoughts on it. And the state of college football, I just saw Oregon's schedule. We don't play Indiana in the regular season, which it didn't really matter because Fernando Mendoza, their players, they might take a step back, they might not. But with Chris Nettie as their coach, you gotta look out for them now. I think they're gonna be legit. So they'll probably be in the playoffs. They'll probably get there. We do play Ohio State at Ohio, so that's gonna be a tough game. But that's the game I want to see the most. Dante Moore's coming back, so second year starting at Oregon. Last season was his first season as a full starter for Oregon. So second time's a charm. Because the playbook's better, we have more experience. A lot of our players are coming back. Evan Stewart, he was hurt. We didn't see him last season because he was still injured. But yeah, we got a lot of players coming back. Got a good receiving core. We have the talent. We have the talent stuff, the coaches. We just gotta execute. The execution, and then the playoffs. Be prepared. Because it sure didn't look like it against Indiana. We didn't execute well, turned the ball over, the pick 6 to start the play. That was a nightmare, a bad sign. Yeah, and our schedule, besides the Ohio State game, I think we can damn near win almost every game. If I had to say if I had to pick out a game we lose to, it'd be Ohio State at Ohio. I think every other team looks pretty good in our favor. We play Michigan at Austin, so that'll be a good one. Play USC in their home, that'll be a good one. Yeah, there's no Civil War game, but that game is not. Who cares about that game? Oregon State is the Little Rose. Washington, rivalry game. Hopefully take care of that, handle business. But yeah, the schedule's looking good. Hopefully the season is better than the last. So we move up, keep moving up. Dylan Gabriel, we went undefeated. The Big Ten, that was great. Then the playoffs, we were 1 and done. Lost in the second round basically because we had to bye, so we had to do the first round. Then this year, we had to do the first round because we didn't get a bye. Beat JMU, easy. Then we made it to the Next round, played Texas Tech, beat them, so we moved up from that. Then we were in the semifinals, first time in the semifinals. And yeah, we lost to Yale. You guys know that how that went. And now, hopefully, the Natty, we're moving up little by little. It's a process. I believe you can do it. Got our players coming back, got the right coaches, and time, like what they said in the video, I think it's time. Other teams are catching up. There's going to be a lot of coaches that are going to get better, evolve. You're going to see what Indiana did, try to take from them. And yeah, just all about developing and stuff. Just getting the right players. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else to say. Yeah, that is my fear for the future of college football, a dynasty, and coaches being fired because of what Cristianetti did. And yeah, like, I don't want to lose Dan Lanning and then get another coach, then him being worse. Like, cause we see in the NFL them firing great coaches just because they have winning records and stuff. They're a great coach, but they just can't. They just haven't won the big game, or they just haven't got to the Super Bowl. Like, for example, I think Sean McDermott, he's a great coach, but it's not all on him. Like, but I see why they had to let him go, because Josh Allen, you can't keep losing with Josh Allen as a QB. Although the team this year, and there's other examples too of great teams, of great coaches losing their jobs, and then that team being worse because they hired the wrong guy. And I don't want that to be Oregon. I don't want us to fire Dan Lanning and hire someone else and then him sneaking up the joint, like not even making the playoffs, not even being worse, because that'd be a nightmare. Because a team could really ruin another franchise, and a team could really ruin another team. I don't want to Indiana, I don't want to see Indiana break us like that. Not Indiana. Not a team that's never been good in college football ever in their history. There's no way. The fact that they won a natty before Oregon, a program that's been known for football, better in football throughout history than Indiana, is just still crazy to me. That's insane. If you guys think about it, give it some time to think about what Indiana just pulled off. They did it before Oregon, the University of Oregon. They won a natty before the Ducks, mighty Oregon, the basketball school, basically. They weren't good in football ever. To recently, these past 2 years, Cristianetti last year, he made it to the playoffs, they lost, and then they won a natty this year. The time is clicking. I want to win one really bad. Hopefully, I don't know, Phil Knight, while he's still alive, he wants to see us win. And this just makes it worse, because Cristianetti did it in that amount of time. I know Dan Lanning's a young head coach, so that's the excuse, and that's actually the valid point I give for him, because he's been coaching longer as a head coach than Dan Lanning. So I think Dan is still evolving, he's still improving. He's not at his peak yet, he's not at the pinnacle, but he'll get there, because he's already a great head coach. But I don't want to lose Dan Lanning, because Indiana ruined us, ruined our franchise. They turned into this dynasty, and I can see it happening. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but when I see Cristianetti, I see Nick Saban 2.0. I see Belichick. He has Belichick in him. Alabama was good before Nick Saban, so in that aspect it's different, because Nick Saban went into Alabama that was already They were a good program. I looked it up. They were good. But the Patriots, though, they weren't good. Belichick, when he became the head coach, turned it around. It was similar to what Cincinnati did. He turned him into a winning franchise. And yeah, that's why he's kind of like a combination of both, in my opinion. I know that's crazy to say, that those coaches are legendary, the best in college football, the best in the NFL, and that's what I fear. I fear that Cincinnati is a psycho like that. He's locked in, serious like Belichick. Hardly shows any emotion. I think he's more serious maybe because he doesn't smile even when he has big leads, throwing teams out. You see Cincinnati, like there's no emotion, doesn't smile. And he's like Nick Saban because he's from the Nick Saban tree. You learn from him. He just knows how to coach, obviously. They follow players. And I see it. I see Belichick, Saban, and Cincinnati. And he has potential to be like them, to be a dynasty, to become a legendary coach. He's already a great coach, the best in college football, but he has the potential to be even higher than that, which is a scary thought. Something to fear. If you're another school, if you root for another school. So, yeah, those are just my thoughts. That's this video. Just wanted to do something different. That's the future of college football. That's what I fear the most. We don't want to see another dynasty, though. I don't want to see another dynasty. I do want to see one, and I want it to be that team, the Ducks. Yeah, I want to win one. I want to win a natty. But what Indiana just pulled off for the natty and stuff, that's a bad look for Oregon, for all these other coaches that have better programs. Out of all the teams in Indiana, of a program that's not, popular, that's not eye-catching, that's not this big program, but they got it done. So we gotta get it done now. Time is clicking. The clock is moving. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think it's time to wrap up this video. Hope you guys like, share, subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.